Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're going to get after these inner splash shields and get them repaired up. Let me show you what we're in for. Okay, these are the two pieces here. We've got the driver's side here and the passenger side here. Both have the same problem at the top, where corrosion, because of the undercoating and the seal that goes in right here, has just kept the moisture and debris and rotted out these two areas on both sides. But these should be fairly simple to repair. We'll do a template. Really, the more complex part will be this area, but still fairly straightforward to repair. This one on the passenger side, this bracket here underneath, you can see here, is rotted through. So we'll clean that out a bit better and we'll take a closer look at that. But you can see there it's corroded. So I'm probably going to cut this off and replace it, the metal underneath, as well as replace the bracket here. On this side though, it's in great shape. It's all cleaned up and no issues there. A new set of these are $200 USD from AMD to my door with tax, shipping, conversion to Canadian dollars, $350 Canadian by the time they're at my door. So we're going to make these work because it's not an area of the car where I want to spend a lot of money, and it's an area of the car, given these pieces and the shape that they're in, that we can save them. So let's save these and put that $350 to something like Go Fast Parts. So let's get started. We're going to start with the easier one, driver's side, and we'll start by doing a template on this one. Okay, I've got the driver's side piece here, and I've marked out where the first piece will be. It's a flat piece. We just need to template out where these holes are, and then a second piece over here where it's pretty corroded. We're gonna have to replace that. On the back side, I've cleaned up the steel here. You can see I've got good steel on the left side of that line there, so we are good there. And I'll maintain the folded edge here because it's in good shape and it will keep the form that we need to fit into. So won't mess around with that. So we're going to get a template cut out with this first and get that piece in. This will be the last piece we do. All right, let's get started with that. Okay, I don't think we need to bother with a paper pattern. We can just use this as our template. You can see we need a hole here. This will be where that hole is. That comes straight, but on an angle. And then back here. Yeah, that should be our piece. Let's draw that up. We'll cut this out, and I think we'll be off to the races. All right, I'll get that cut out, and I'll pick you back up. Okay, got that piece cut out, and everything lines up nice. I just got to get there. All lines up nice. So we'll do a cut and butt along the edges here. Importantly, though, everything lines up here. So that's our piece. We'll get set up with the welder and get ready for a cut and butt. Okay, so that's tacked in there for the cut and butt. You'll see that this edge has a bit of a roll on it. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to try and take the hammer and the dolly and get this to curve down so that we've got that rolled edge, and we'll meet up with this properly. There she is. So we'll get that cut and butt later, but as it is right now, backside. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and weld this up, and then I'll pick you up when it's time to do piece number 2. Okay, so welded up, ground down. Very happy with how that's come out. Everything looks great. Just a weld in the backside too, nothing fancy. Just make sure I had lots of strength and no penetration. There's no pinholes anywhere through here. So now we're on to this piece. So I think what I'll do there is I will use a paper template, and we'll get something marked out and then cut up, and we'll probably put this bend in before we try to put the piece in. But first things first, let's get a piece that's roughly that size. Okay. Like that. Okay, and that's basically her shape there. We'll cut that and just double check her. We don't need it quite that long. We will do a cut and butt, but I still don't think we need it quite that long. I don't think. Well, yeah, we just need to trim it off here. Give me a straight edge to work on there. There, that'll make good for a cut and butt there. And yeah, I think that's it. That'll do it. So I'm going to get this cut out in 18 gauge, and we'll meet you back here. Okay, we've got our piece here, and we know that we need a rolled edge right here. It needs to roll that way. So I've got a piece of pipe here that I think we can use to create that. Doesn't have to be perfect, but that's got the roll now that I think we need. And we also know that at the bottom of this piece right here it rolls out this way. So I'm going to put a slight bend on that one as well. Let's go try that, see if it works. Could use a little bit more on this edge, a little bit more roll. So I'm going to do that quick and come right back. A little more. Very close. Just do a little bit more. That's it. That's the piece. Okay, so what I'm going to do, given I think the way to cut and butt this is really just to, because we can do this on such a small piece, I'm just going to cut it using a marker. I'm going to cut on the inside of this painted line. And we'll take off material as we need it. There we go. Weld that up and we're good to go. That's it. You just need to weld it up, grind it off. So I'll do that now and bring you back when the piece is done. All right, guys. That's all welded in, ground down. Welded it all back in here. I did grind off this because I'm not sure if that's going to touch anything on the car, so I didn't want anything protruding, but left the rest of the weld in there because I don't think that's necessary to grind off. There it is. That piece is done. Now we'll move on to the passenger side. It'll be the same ordeal at the front, at the top, and then we're going to have a little extra work to do on this brace down here. But I'm happy with that. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, here we are with the passenger side. You can see the exact same rust area, a little less here on this edge. So we think we'll still replace that. Well, it's still pretty strong. Well, we're going to start by doing this. It's pretty scaly there. We're going to start by doing this piece, just like the other side. We'll get that done, then we'll decide if we're going to go down through here or not. The truth is, it's not so bad. And for what this piece is, it's probably good enough. But one step at a time. And then we'll come back to this area here and decide what we're going to do to address that rust there. Okay, so just like last time, we're going to start with paper pattern. Sorry, not a paper pattern, but a pattern right on the steel. There. Okay. there's our pattern. Let's get that cut out and I'll pick you back up. Okay, I've got that piece cut out just like the last one. And I think that's what we're looking for. So, like the other piece, we're going to start to tack it, dolly it up. We'll have to hammer it over here to get the bend that we like, but we'll do that once we get this tacked in the exact position that we want it. Let's get that going. Okay. I think we're we're ready for the cut and butt. Everything looks like it should be. All the holes are lined up with the old piece. So we'll leave that. We're going to start right here. Okay, there's our piece. It's all cut and butt in. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just weld this all up, grind it off like the other one, and then I'll pick you up on the next step. Okay, she's all welded up, ground down. Everything looks great. Little weld in the back, tacks here, weld in the back. It's good and strong. That is replaced and repaired. Happy with that. Now, I just did do a quick test fit on the car. Everything fits nicely in the car, and that allows me to see where this was lining up on the car. Because I think what we're going to do, because I can put this piece in and find out where this goes later, I think what I'm going to do is cut this off. I'm going to reuse part of this bracket and then make a new one and put it back on here, and I'll tack it in the right place. Once I get this in the car test fitted, I'll put that in the right place, bolt it to the car, I think, and then tack it in. So what we're going to do, I am going to do, just for my own sanity, I'll say, I'm going to line up this with the hole. Use paint. That's in line with the hole. As is that. That will give me some bearing, but I'm not really worried about that again because I can get this bracket built, ready to tack, and then put this on the car and put this in the right place and tack it. So, okay, we need to get, as you can see, we need to get the bracket off and put a new piece in here, and you can go from there. So I think what I'm going to do is cut out around here. Something like that. Something like that. Let's get that cut out. I'll pick you back up when I've got that done. Okay, I've got that cut out and prepped the surface for welding on both sides. And here's our old piece. We're going to use that as a template, actually. We won't do a cut and butt on this. And I got a piece of steel here that fits this almost perfectly. So let's get that cut out. And we'll grind to fit. Okay, you see I've got that piece cut out. It fits in there almost perfectly. I think I'm going to do a tack here, a tack there, a tack over here, and then I'm going to do a cut with the cutoff wheel here, and then just shape that a little bit once I get things tacked in here, because it has a slight roll to it. But let's get this tacked in and go from there. Okay, I think that looks nice in there, good and flush. Okay, I'm going to weld this all up and we'll pick you back up. Okay, that's all welded in and ground down nice, welded on the back. Beautiful and solid. So rust is cleaned up, and these are, or this part, pardon me, is ready to go. Now we've got to rebuild this. Now measuring this out, I know that the top of this needs to sit roughly 1.25 inches from the surface here. So what I'm going to do, I think, is we're going to save the top part of this and cut all the edges off that are rotted. The top part of this bracket, I think, is fine. I'm going to check the bolt just quickly. I think that it's fine too. Yeah, the stud's great. Threads are nice. So let's save on that because it will keep the factory look. Okay. So this is heavier. This is 16 gauge. So that's what I'll use. Right now I'm going to go out to the brake. First I'm going to cut a few pieces of 16 gauge that are roughly this shape, and then I'm going to bend them into 90s, a little longer than I need, and we'll start to craft this together. So I won't video that. I don't think you've seen me do this a number of times, but I will show you when I get the pieces ready and how I'm going to make it. So again, I'm going to cut out 3 pieces of 16 gauge, rectangular shape, roughly the same size as this, bend them 90 degrees, and we'll come back. Okay, let's see what I got going on here. Got 3 pieces of 16 gauge bent up to more or less mimic this bracket here. So I think I've got a little bit more than the height that I need, but that's okay, because I can always trim this down a little bit. But I think I'm ready now to cut this out and then start to fasten it here. So I'm going to cut that off and I'll pick you back up. Okay, I've got that piece cut off the old bracket here. It's certainly corroded in the back, but I think we'll still be okay to save this. Maybe I'm crazy trying to keep that original look, but yeah, whatever. So when I get my pieces all lined up here, there we go. I'm sitting too high. So I did take this bracket and put it inside that one. And you see that line there. I don't want to cut that line because it'll be too short, because the cutoff wheel took material out. But if I cut on the top side of that line, I should be fine. So we're going to do that. I've done that on both of these, and that should give us the height that we're looking for. We'll come back when that's done. Okay, I've got these trimmed out, and when I put this on top and then measure my distance to the base, I've got 1.25 inches, which was the same of the original piece. So I'm going to tack this in here, and we're going to see how things go. Okay, there we go. Redone. And what I done is I just took the lines that I had drawn to roughly get where that hole needs to be. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack it in place, and then I'm going to check to see if we're good on the fender and decide if we want to weld it up or not. So let's get the welder on. All right, just a tack. I'm going to go test fit that in the car. We'll see how it goes. Okay, it's about 1/4 inch too low, so we got to bring it up 1/4 inch. I'm going to make that mark right here so I know where to go with that bracket. We'll cut that off. Okay, we'll do a test fit and come right back. Okay, that fits good. So I think we're going to weld her up and call it done. I'll do that off camera and then we'll meet you back. Okay, there we go. These are all done. Saved myself, as I said, around $350 Canadian. These will get media blasted like everything else, epoxy primed. Yeah, there we go. Well, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. We're all done with these splash shields, and they're ready to go back on the car. Really happy with how these turned out. Again, saved myself a bunch of money, and that can go to other areas of the car. Come back next week and we're going to start working on the new floor. We'll see you then.